Ta-da! My hair is like, feels so much better. I need to trim Murphy. I bet he'd love that too. Yeah, so obviously my hair in this one and the video you're about to see is different. And I'm just recording this now because I was gonna like chop out parts of this video because I was trying to show you how to do something easily and it didn't work. It backfired. But yeah, so I'll just show you what it is. I'm not much one for cropping things out. It was a learning process, and when I say things like pro tip or, you know, whatever, it's obviously very facetious. Yeah. So I'm going to just show you that video. And then I'll show you where we're at with this. Where we're at, like, just in general right now. So here's a quick little trick, tip, whatever you want to call it, for how to fit hose barbs into hoses. And it's more of an issue when you have a larger diameter hose that's thicker and it doesn't want to flex because it needs to elongate or open up a little bit when you're pushing this in, because it kind of works on compression a little bit, and then you got the hose clamp on top. So what it doesn't like to slide in. You can like try to muscle it, whatever, but here's what works really well is dish soap. And I prefer the plant-based ones on drinking water. So when I flush this out, you know, it doesn't have like all sorts of chemical stuff in it. And we'll flush this out outside before I connect it to the tank. And we'll put it in a bucket and stuff. So I put some over there. You can see there's another smaller tube inside. And that was from the previous owner. It's actually not a bad idea, whoever did this. Because the larger hose from the tank doesn't fit and it's hard to find the adapters. So this is a 1.5 inch tube over a 1.25 inch tube over the fitting, and it's very snug in there. But so sometimes when you put this on and then you just want a little bit, and then you go to like on that, it doesn't have any barbs and it wasn't gripping. It might wants to make this hose slide off of it when you're tightening this down, because it's got a taper from the smaller vinyl tube on the inside. So what you do is, like, I just let it sit overnight and this stuff kind of dried and evaporated. Now you can see that I was able to close it down. But so we're just going to put a tiny drop inside, smear this around, and pop the fitting in. And I'll show you in a couple seconds what that looks like. We're going to even try to get an action shot. Action shot. A little bit. Just put on the inside. Handy dandy piece of paper. Wipe off your fingers so it's not all greasy. And I just put it on one side instead of both. So let's see if I got enough. It's still a little snug, and I'm going to show you this hose shipped, so it's kind of compressed from when it coils, and it's taller this way than it is wide. So that's what I'm struggling with, as well as just getting it in place. All right, I'm gonna go find a heat gun. I think I figured out I don't need the heat gun.
I'm too lazy to bring the extension cord. So I'm just rotating this. Yeah, it seems to be working a little bit. We've got 2 barbs in. I might just put away. Oh, that is really hard. I'm using my little screwdriver to try bar it. It's turn. I don't have a good grip on this thing. So if anybody has any tips that are better than my tips, please share. I'm gonna have to go look before I do the other 2.
All right, heat gun it is. So, handy tip number 2. When you're gonna do a video about a handy tip, why don't you make sure it works first? Well, in my defense, it did work on the other end, but it didn't have the same size fitting and barbs. So, tip number 3, because I just gave you 2. So let's see how this works. It's an adjustable one, so I don't need it on super high, hopefully. All right, let's see how that works. But there we go. All right. And there it is. It'll sit over here like that. Whew, that was a lot of work. All right, now that you saw me fail with the hashtag real tip, or hashtag pro tip, I just put some heat on here, plus the dish goop, and it's making a big difference. The fitting down of the tank didn't need any heat. I don't know if these are just slightly larger, but so the heat makes it a ton easier. So I have some heat and some dish goop. So here is an actual hashtag amateur pro tip. When you put things like this on, the hose clamp, can you see that? Yep. Put it on in a way that when you need to take it apart and like everything is constructed around it, you can reach. So if this is going in here, how am I going to get to this, right? So I have a panel here that I can get to down below. So I want it facing forward instead of like on the side here, or so it comes underneath it. And these things will, as you tighten them, they will turn, which is the ratchet for the strap. So you just want to make sure that it's in the right spot where you can access it, even if you got to use like a stubby screwdriver or something. Turning just a little bit too far, so I'm going to push this back here, just like that. And it takes a couple more seconds to do that, but you will be very, very glad later if you ever have to get into it, because it will take you way more than a couple seconds to try to get it off from some weird angle. So that's how that one went in. We're going to do the other one the same way. So heat gun, make sure that you got the strap on before you put it on, although this came off pretty easily now that it's hot.
Yep, nice and flexible. I'm still using a little bit of this stuff. This one's enough. So I'm going to grab it to spin around. Figure out where I put my paper and clean off my finger. Bloody paper, because I did end up stabbing myself with a screwdriver. Unfortunately, that wasn't on video. Well, unfortunately, so let's see. I want this from this way. You can access it from down below, and I'm trying to get myself put that up there. That's fun. And yep, pretty much one sitting in the back. And that's it. So now, tighten this down. Left hand, apparently, is the way to do it. You're lefty, good for you. I'm not very good with the left hand. Probably can't see inside this video, but that's in the video.
Okay, and that'll sit like that. And we'll put a strap somewhere here or here to hold it. Probably there, I like it. Putting a little bit of pressure up on the top. Anywho, so got it all connected now. Ta-da! Next task, I am going to lay out the plumbing from the bottom, which that's the pickup, and I have a couple valves. So first I want a valve so I can turn off the tank if I need to work on anything on this side of the tank. And secondly, I will have a valve that will go to a drain to drain it outside, so I don't have to run the water pump to drain it all, which is not good for the pump. I don't even know how many times I'm going to do that, but it's just way easier to open a valve and just have it drain down. So I'm going to do that, hook it up to the pump, which has got a strainer, and then from the pump side, I'll probably just run it outside for now to do a test and flush this thing. I'll actually flush it before I run the pump so I can get all the little bit of residue from the dish soap off so it doesn't get into the pump. Not that I think that small amount will help or hurt anything. And this is the vent, so I just hooked that up and it just goes up next to the fill. And I will cable tie these together just so they're nice and clean and get the panel on here. Yeah, that's what we're working on next. Yeah.
So here's Miko working his magic with plumbing. Hopefully it all works when he's done.
Yeah, I don't know if I call this magic. If it is magic, it's not fake magic, you know, like they do at the carnival. Where it's like not even impressive. David Copperpipe.
Watch that screw that's underneath there.
If I watch it, I'm probably gonna hit my head on it. These things, they don't fit in this space.
Yeah, it's kind of a tight corner.